We've built the bridges, we've built the elevators. I think it's about time we start building the actual base. And what better place to start than the door? Coming up after this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, this is ScrapMan and bringing you another episode of Scrap Mechanic, and we are back with the suspended mountain base with all the fixins that we've been working on. Last time we worked on building a double elevator system to bring our cars up to give access to the base. Now, the ultimate plan is to actually have the cars be able to go up onto the mountains and access one of the bridges, but also build a garage for them to settle in before we go across the bridge onto the base. Now, the main attraction of this episode is we're gonna try to build a interesting door for our steampunk treehouse themed base. And I'm gonna do a door that's kind of like, almost like a Fallout vault door with kind of like the gear rolling mechanism where it rolls off. And I have an idea of how to do that. We're gonna see if it works in this episode. I figured that'd be a good place to start off with actually working on the base, you know, the front entrance maybe. And I'll show you where we're starting with that. But quick update on some progress with the elevators and stuff. I was reading some of your comments and some of your suggestions, and I've fixed some of the issues that the elevators were having. First is where I didn't even realize that this elevator, I actually had the pistons extending too long, so they were pushing into the ground more than they had to. What I've also done with this elevator was I fixed the issue at the top where it wasn't going up quite enough, and that was because it was one block too long. So we were having this weird gap thing, but I fixed that. And now it is technically one block too short, but I did it on purpose because the weight of the vehicle kind of sags it down a little bit. So having it one block too short makes it really good for driving the vehicles off here. Now it gets really, really laggy when I drive on it first. But as soon as we disconnect this elevator from the ground, all of our frames come back. Now, a lot of you were suggesting to do a sensor mechanism here so I don't have to get out and push a button. That's the ultimate goal, is to do that, but I figured it'd be more interesting for me to work on actual base stuff for now, rather than just a tedious little sensor thing. I'll do that in the off time at some point. But as you can see, we're going up here and take a look at this. See? Almost perfect. It is technically one block higher, but the weight of the vehicle sags it down to just about there. So I thought that that was a good remedy for our previous issue. So yeah, now you can see it raised up a little bit, which is fine. You can go back onto the bridge without too much of an issue at all. It's way better than it was, at least. So that's good. And then we can go on, bring our vehicle up over here to the second elevator. And now the second elevator, I have raised the roof, quite literally raised the roof, so that it's not quite as cramped once we get up here. So we're gonna go ahead and hit the button, we're gonna bring ourselves up. And you can see, you're getting a little bit of a glimpse of some of the things I've been doing on the suspended base over there, doing a little bit of testing. And this one is also technically one block higher. So I just think that works out really well. And you can also see that the elevator has been raised where that used to be the top right there. That used to be where the roof is, but now the roof has been raised up there to make it a little bit more spacious. So now here's where what I'm planning on doing for the cars is I'm actually going to make an entrance right here, and this is going to be like a garage area where we can kind of just park our cars and then come out, and now we have access to the base through our awesome suspended bridges that were extremely tedious to build. If you haven't seen any of these episodes yet, I have a whole playlist. This is like episode 8 or something. I'm losing track now, but putting these bridges on was the craziest thing I've probably dealt with in Scrap Mechanic so far, but I can't believe it actually worked. So here is the plan. Now this is actually inspired by one of your creations. I was looking through some of the steampunk themed creations that you guys have been submitting to my Discord, link down in the description if you want to be part of the Discord. And this here was one of those creations, but unfortunately, I don't know why, but it's glitching out and I can't get it to work. But imagining how I think it's supposed to work, it kind of inspired me to do what I'm gonna do in this episode. So this is made by Yaskin For It. So apparently they open from all different sides, but I'll try to do it now. Maybe it'll work now that I'm recording. I don't know why it would, but we'll just see what happens. This might lag a little bit, so I'm just gonna add some stilts to it so that way it doesn't come in contact with the surface too much here. All right, but it looks amazing. I really like these kind of pillars on the side here. So here's what happens when I press the button. I have no idea. Things are happening. I don't know what's happening. All right, well, I'm gonna press the button and we'll see if something different happens than what was happening for me. Here we go. Ah! It just scared me. It was just like pushing into my face all of a sudden. So yeah, that's, I don't know why that's happening, but that is what's happening. By the way, that's really cool with the threaded teeth for the logo there. I think that's a really cool touch. So I don't know exactly what it was supposed to do. I think that was supposed to kind of move to the side, and then there's another one back here that also, I think, oh, see, this one moved out to the side. This one does this. So I don't know what's causing that, but I actually wanted to build off of this idea and try to do one thing different that this one doesn't do. See, this one actually moves them like this. I want to actually make it look like the gear rotates and like rolls out. So that's the effect that I'm gonna try to create with this new one. And this rug idea is actually really, really cool. I might have to steal that. All right, so just to give you an idea of, I wanted to give credit where credit's due, because that was the creation that inspired the theme for this episode, which is going to be building this door. So I figured that this bridge, since that's where the garage is, I figured that this should lead to the front entrance of the base. So this is gonna technically be the front entrance, I guess. And I decided that this is all going to be like a balcony area that's going to overhang the base. So then I replaced the entire middle section with metal. So this is going to be actually the floor of the steampunk base, and I made the balcony out of wood. So I thought that would add like a nice cool touch to it. How I'm going to build up the rest of this base, I don't really know. But it should be interesting, it should be fun. We're going to see what happens with it. Okay, so now on to creating this door mechanism. So here is the idea. This door is ideally, when I press a button, wherever the button is going to be, ideally this door is just going to look like it's rolling across the ground and out of the way. So I don't think I'm gonna have it the way that you might expect, where the gear teeth actually roll into like different sections. I think I'm going to have it be almost like an illusion, where I'm gonna fake it using pistons and a controller. If I put a bearing on the back of this and then attach that block to a piston, then as the piston contracts, the bearing will also rotate, so it'll look like it's rolling, but really it's just being pulled and then spinning at the same rate. All right, well, I'm probably gonna time lapse the rest of this unless something major happens. So there's probably gonna be a lot of like mistakes and like putting down and deleting things that I decide isn't gonna work, but let's get to it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That was a process and a lot of trial and error. I confused myself a little bit in the middle of building this too with the controller settings, but we now have the door. First I'm going to show you what it does, and then we're going to go into a little bit of how it works and the idea behind it. And then we're going to go into the future of the base and how you can help if you don't already know. Okay, so first off, let's go ahead and just press the button here. So when we press the button, four things happen. First, you can see it sets back a little bit, then it rolls, and then it gets nice and covered up, nice and cozy, so you don't even know that it's there. Just watching that now, I wish there was a way. I wonder if I can. There's one thing I might change about that. I'm gonna ask your advice on that in just a second, because there's an alternate way for me to close this in, and I don't know if it's better or worse than this way. It might look better, but I don't know if it's going to be better in the long run. So I have it open a little bit back here. So basically everything is hooked up to a controller. At first I was having issues with hooking up a switch to a piston and the controller. I was having the pistons operate separately from the controller, which was just a stupid idea for timing. If you want your pistons and bearings to be in sync with each other as far as timing goes, then you definitely want them all on the controller. That way they're operating on the same time scale, which is this thing. Before I was trying to measure this with the piston speed, and that just didn't work out very well. I should have known that. I was just stupid. I wasn't thinking about it. So the first thing that happens when I press the button is the door is gonna open. And by the door, I mean this door right here. So that's gonna open up, and there was a couple of different ways that I tried to do it, and I think this is the best way. So what it actually does here, check it out. I'll press the button, and then you can see what happens over here. So you can see it opens, it actually folds back onto itself using a double bearing system here. Now, I was a little bit torn about whether or not to have these wedge pieces here or to have a flat wall so that when it folds back it looks flat. But without the wedge pieces, it looks weird in its closed position. So when we let it close here. So if there weren't any wedge pieces there, it would just be like a flat corner, and it looks kind of weird. But when the door is closed, when this door is open and this is closed, I think it looks much better with this here. And I was thinking, as a design element, I actually kind of like the way this looks with the wedge piece just making kind of like a wedge in there. So I was thinking on another side, like imagine over here if I just use this as kind of like a stylistic element to the walls. Like what if I just add this to random walls here and there? And I don't think there's anything particularly steampunk about it, but I think if I use it right, it could add, it could actually add to the interesting aesthetic of a steampunk base. Like, what do you think about that? Does that look? I mean, I guess it can kind of look steampunkish if the wall almost looks like it's inset a little bit, and then I could have this wall extend over here to give it some more context. See, what do you think about that? And I could have that at various points around the base to kind of just add this extra texturing to the environment and to the wall. So I think I can make that work. And now let's see what it looks like with the door. Actually, I should probably add a switch over here. There we go. Yeah, I don't think that looks bad. It has an interesting look to it. Yeah, so anyway, for the rest of the details with this, basically, this is a two-piston mechanism. We have the piston that actually moves the door, and then we have this piston which actually sets it in to the wall area. And you can see in the front here that I actually created like a border around it that holds it in place just like that, so it's a nice and sturdy doorway that needs to be moved back before it can move sideways. And I thought that made like a nice entrance. Now the question is, this only looks good from one side, unfortunately. Like, as an exit, that doesn't look good at all. I don't really know what to do about that. I guess we could kind of have like a two-tier. Yeah, we could almost have it like a quarantine area, like a quarantine vault. We can go in the first door, and then we'll have like a short little section, and then a second door can open as well. What do you think about that? And I guess they would kind of work at the same time too. That way we only see one of them at a time. I could probably just duplicate that entire thing and just weld it on another part over here. That's an idea. Let me know what you think about that idea. So should I have 2 of these, one facing that way, one facing this way, with kind of like a square room, a square quarantine area in the middle? That way when you press the button, both of these doors will actually open. The only thing is it's gonna take up a lot of dead space just for the doors. Okay, so now, I told you I was gonna ask you your advice on something. So, for this last part right here where this door closes in, I don't think that looks good from the front area. Like, it just looks, it's kind of distracting. One other possible thing, instead of having this thing swing open in front of you, I could open up the floor right here. We actually have what was gonna be the garage, and we have all this space underneath. So what I could do is open this up here, and then create an entire wall that a piston will push it up. So it'll actually just go straight up and close this in, rather than having this door swing open in front of you. So what do you think about that? Would you rather have it piston push it up, or would you rather have it swing in like this? Leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Alright, so now that we have this entrance here, you have an idea of the feel and the look that I'm going for the actual base. Up next is we have to create some rooms in here with some furniture, some decor, some wall decorations, some stylistic elements, just different rooms. We need a bathroom, we need a living room area, even maybe things I haven't even thought of yet. So you can actually contribute. I'll feature your creations if I think it looks really good and fits the base. If I think it's good enough to be in this series, I will put it in this series. All you have to do is join my Discord, and there's a text channel in that Discord for you to put links to your workshop creations that are steampunk themed for the suspended mountain base. And if I see your creation and I like it, I'll definitely take a look at it, and we'll put it in here, and I will give you guys a shout out by name when I feature your creations in the build. As you can see, I've already taken a look at some of your creations, and that's what inspired this doorway here. So I'm definitely looking for more stuff to add in here to help me get the rooms actually situated. Now this is going to be a multi-level room, so even like a steampunk staircase could be cool. I don't really know what that would look like. And I'm also going to be putting like a fountain, and maybe underneath I'll add like a kind of, that's where the treehouse kind of area might be a little bit more prominent, where I can add a fountain and I'll have the waterfall coming off. And yeah, so there's a lot of stuff to do with this series. I'm glad you guys are really liking this series, so let me know what you think for future episodes. What do you want to see next? I also do want to get that steampunk garage built, so if there are any garage elements that you can think of too, definitely leave those submissions, get building, and let me know what you guys have made. Well, I'm gonna wrap up the episode here. I think this was pretty successful. This is the exact mechanism that I wanted the door to do and look like, and we got it to work, and it's not glitching or anything, which is really, really good, because we can't put this thing on a lift right now. It's all attached, and it is pretty much finalized. So leave a like for success. Well, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.